Maurice, thank you for joining us on What's the Startup? What is the startup? What's the startup with you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. The startup is Doggy Eats, my own dog food and treats company. Thank you to Sprocket for all of the help in trying to start it. But yeah, that's what we're focused on.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about Doggy Eats and how you got started.
Yeah, so Doggy Eats just started from the love of my own dog, just trying to find the most nutritional food and treats as well. Treats specifically, had stomach issues, giardia, and I just found the most wholesome products to just help her tummy issues.
Yeah, so that's brilliant. So
Thank you.
we started making these treats and you were like, this is helping?
Yeah,
Wow.
she had it, and then we went to the vet, of course, have to. She was given antibiotics, everything, and when you have a pup that's just diarrhea and you're working like a 9 to 5, your life isn't regular, so you want
Yeah.
it to stop
Yeah.
as quickly as possible. So I was doing everything online, every research I could on Google Scholar, Bing, like any search engine, like how can I get this to stop? And pumpkin seeds and pumpkin is what came up.
Taking notes.
That's how I started. I was like, all right, I'm putting pumpkin seeds and pumpkin in our food. And then I was like, well, I could just put this in a treat. And I didn't see many pumpkin seeds or pumpkin treats. And I myself love to bake, grew up doing it with my mom. So I was like, let's do it. And then later on, we started selling them. I was like, let's go that route.
Tell me about that moment, like the in-between. You're making them for yourself, and then you were just like, you know what? There's a business here?
Yeah. Yeah, so that moment, I was always looking, thinking, I'm like an entrepreneur, like mind track, like what can I do? What does look good? Just trying to find out more about myself. So in the in-between of making the treats, realizing that it was helping her, and then having other pets, I was going to the dog park a lot at that time. So other pets like trailing me, begging for the treats because they can tell. I was like, you know what? This could actually be a thing.
Customer research, right?
Exactly. This could actually be a thing. So that was it. Once I decided that like dogs like it helps my dog, then it's just piecing it all together. How do I make this marketable and profitable?
Yeah. What was your next step from there? You're like, okay, I'm gonna make a business out of this.
My next step, and at times I think I'll regret this, but my next step was like, let's get a logo. Let's try to put marketing, or not branding is what I'm trying to say. Let's get a logo. Let's try to make a package. Let's try to make this as nice and neat as possible. So I did that. I guess the name was a fun thing that I played with for a while, and I really love it now. But just like, it's so simple. Doggy
Yeah.
Eats. You see it and you know exactly,
You know
what's
exactly what it
happening. Yeah. So yeah, that was my next step. Just
Why
like
do you
trying to think of
regret the
name.
branding as your first step?
Well, I don't fully regret it, but at times I think I could have made it like Toyota Lean. Like I could have made it a lot simpler and cheaper on myself, because you can start a business and just have like a basic packaging with really good treats and people will love it. And me just starting, I maybe didn't understand that fully, that if you start simpler, you can always grow into whatever colors you want for your brand, whatever name you want for your brand. So I just didn't start as simple as I think I'd like to, but you make up for it.
Yeah.
So it's not so much like a complete regret, but if I were to be in that stage again, I think I would maybe cut that corner for a bit and start a little bit leaner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I will say though, in your own defense, that your branding is spot on.
Thank you.
It's very professional.
Thank you.
It gives some credibility to the treat packages too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when I
Thank you.
first saw it, I was like, did I pick this up from PetSmart?
I appreciate that.
But I totally get where you're coming from. Like I could have pushed the gas a little bit earlier and faster if I had spent more time on this at that stage.
Yeah.
Totally get that.
1,000%. And you think, or well, I think now about the places that you're gonna sell, or the places that I was thinking of selling early on, the packaging doesn't really matter to them as much. Like, it does give you a better eye and then more credibility, but when if we're at the dog park and I have treats, they aren't really thinking about the packaging. Like, if I make these and they're for whatever amount you're selling them for and they're just sealed, that's all that they care about. And even like if I think my original plan was to try to jump into farmers markets. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do that soon. So really excited about it. But at a farmers market too, a lot of those products aren't professionally branded, packaged. They understand that this is a starting point, and people are trying to get out there. So yeah, that's what my brain thinks. Like, maybe I would start a little bit later.
And then your next step, you joined our Innovation Challenge this year. Tell us
Yes.
what the challenge was like for you, and at a high level, like what you learned going through it.
Yeah, the challenge for me was really beneficial because I got to a point in my journey where I wanted and like needed like-minded people, a little bit of accountability too, because I just felt like I was pushing this thing, I was trying to get momentum, and by yourself, it can be easy to get swayed, have any mood swing. Like, on Monday, you can be like, I'm killing this, and then Monday night, you can be like, this is not going well for me. So to get in the Innovation Challenge and have people who are generally at the same step as me, who are also having these mood swings and these
Yeah.
questions and wondering what do we do next, that was extremely beneficial to me. Yeah.
Because I can imagine if you're outside of that community and you're having these swings, I'm killing it, I'm crushing it, I don't know what I'm doing. You probably feel like an anomaly. Like, there's something wrong with me, I'm doing something wrong. But when you're in a community, you're like, oh, this is just the status quo.
Yeah, absolutely. Because then, like, your motivation can be fleeting when you're having those mood swings and there's no one to. I obviously have people to bounce ideas off of, but they don't completely understand why I feel like I'm having these swings. So I lost my train of thought. I'll be so honest, but
Like, yeah, the value of community, of being in with like other people who are on a shared journey.
yeah. They just the people who I'm talking to who aren't on their own entrepreneur journey maybe don't understand why these swings are coming in, and that motivation of like when you are doing great can leave really quickly. So you want to be more consistent to what you're doing than like working in the motivation stage. And that's what having the other entrepreneurs around did for me. Because now I understand, okay, everybody's going through these swings. Everybody's motivation is up and down. Let's stay consistent, and the swings may happen, but you're still doing the work.
What are some of the guardrails that you put in place for yourself to help you stay on track and not burn everything down on a Monday night?
So a lot of it for me, I have a life coach. Fantastic, fantastic person. And they really help give me like tools that just help my brain be like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Maybe take a step away from it, but this is fine. You really like what you're doing, so do it. Like, when you only have those mood swings when you are passionate about something and when you care. If you aren't having those moods, this is how I feel. I won't speak for everyone, but if I wasn't having those mood swings, then am I fully invested in it? So that's what my life coach has helped me with, is just like understanding and appreciating that the mood swings are a part of the journey. And would you rather be doing anything else than having these mood swings for something you're creating that you really enjoy? And that's my main thing I lean on, is just like a constant reminder of there's nothing else that I would rather focus on. So ups, downs, highs, lows, anxiety, appreciate it all, and let's keep working.
I feel like we could just end it right there on that quote. But I'm curious to know, what are some of those actionable, practical tools that you've been learning that help you?
It's mainly health-based for me. So just making sure I'm getting a consistent workout in. And I like to do it before I get down to work, like mentally, just because I can wake up and the first thing I do is gonna be hard. It's not gonna be like a fun-ish workout. It's gonna be hard. And through that, I have to think like, all right, did you wake up today for this to be easy? No. So let's keep doing this. And that, once like you're up and that switch is flipped, it follows into the next thing. So you crush that workout, or you crush whatever you were doing. You knew this morning wasn't going to be easy. You go into your work now motivated that whatever you do today was not supposed to come easy. You're working for this. So that's a huge one for me. Also, just eating right. It seems wild that I had to have a life coach tell me this, but actually having like a plan of what you will eat, when you will eat, is crucial, because now you can time block. You can sit there and be like, all right, I know I'm gonna eat at this time, so I have, between my workout and this, I have 2 hours. Those 2 hours are hours that world out. We push this business as far as we can. We do everything we need in this 2 hours. Eat, come back, the next hour, 30 minutes, we have meeting or whatever. But just time blocking, eating right, working out, everything trickles, everything affects everything, is what me and the life coach always talk about. Like, everything bleeds into everything. If you're doing great in one area, you want to do great in the next.
But it makes so much sense, because if you wake up and you do a hard thing, you're stretching your capacity
Absolutely.
to experience and withstand hard things, so that hard
Absolutely.
things don't necessarily feel so hard.
Yeah, and they're separate too. Like, one is really physical. So when you do sit down, half of your brain is like, well, at least I'm not moving. You know what I mean?
At least that's done.
Exactly. You're like, all right, cool. I'll do something really hard in another way because my body is tired now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm curious to know your approach to time blocking. So you're really, really busy. You've got a lot to do. You've got a lot going on every single day. You sit down, and I'm sure you don't want to spend the first half hour of your 2-hour time block figuring out what you need to do.
Yeah.
How do you plan your priorities so that you can just sit down and get right to work?
Yeah. There's a Sundays.
Sundays.
Sundays are the
Headlines.
Sunday morning, I am going through everything in my calendar, trying to figure out where this fits, my actual like full-time work schedule, what I'll be doing there, if I'm opening, closing. I know that I'm gonna have an hour lunch in between, so that's always an hour where I'm doing things. This isn't like, oh, fun, let's go grab a meal. No, you bring your food, that's an hour to work. If you're closing, your morning has to be productive. If you're opening, nights have to be productive. So but Sundays is essentially what I'm saying. Sundays are when I'm starting everything. We're gonna meal prep, we're gonna time block, we're gonna make sure that I understand the meetings that are coming up, at least who I'm supposed to be meeting with. And I say Sundays, but that's just like a good day in my brain. Every week doesn't fall on Sunday. I may have to be a Friday that I have off, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? The next day I have off is in 4 or 5 days. I have to do this now, or the next 4 or 5 days are haywire. But yeah, there's a specific time where we are going in and time blocking.
Truly setting yourself up for success.
Have to.
taking some time.
Have to show up for yourself. That's it. You have to show up for yourself. So where you know that everything affects everything, you're the only one that creates that. So you have to show up and do it for yourself. I don't know if it's a determination, resilience. I don't know what the word would be, but effort, I think, would maybe be it.
Yeah.
Because there are times where everyone's going to be exhausted. Everyone's going to be just like, man, I don't feel like doing this today. Why do I have to do this today? You have those times, but show up in those moments. Just show up for yourself, because you'll be sick to your stomach if you don't show up for yourself. If you're like, even if it's something that's not in your mind, like not prioritized or not extremely important, and you skip it, it doesn't feel good at all. So show up for yourself. And even in the moment, if you're 25, 30% of yourself, you showed up. You were there, and people will forget. People will forget and forgive. Everyone's so wrapped up in their own mind that they're likely not even focused on how on Kaylin is or how on Maurice is. It's just, Kaylin was here and she was great today. Yeah. So constantly show up and give effort.
Yeah, I think it was Brene Brown who says if you just have 25% to give and you show up and you give 25%, well, then you gave 100%.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen a graph where it's like what you think showing up every day is, and it's like level. But what showing up every day actually looks like is up here, down here, up here in the middle, way up here, and then way down here.
Absolutely.
It all averages out.
Absolutely. Because it's a marathon, not a sprint. There isn't a game of who can gash out first.
Yeah.
It's a game of like who can outlast, who cares enough and has enough passion to consistently do this thing. Yeah.
So leaning into that, to anyone who is a couple steps behind you,
oh, I don't know.
Maybe a year behind you, they're thinking of starting an idea. What would you say to them about the characteristics they need to develop or nurture to stay in the game?
Yeah.
To do that marathon. It's not about getting your KPIs and doing all this stuff. Maybe it's more about managing yourself.
You know what it was for me? For me, it was like understanding where your support is coming from and then diving into it. That would have helped me tremendously. And maybe that isn't what everyone needs to hear. But for me, that was it. Because when I first knew I wanted to do something entrepreneurial or like start a journey in that way, I have ideas, they're floating, they're all going around, and then you can talk to someone and they can shoot it down, and it clips your wings instantly to where this idea doesn't get nurtured, to where by blessings, by the grace of God, I've been able to like get to a point where I have something to be consistent to and self-discipline myself. But a year ago, there was nothing for me to discipline in this way, on this journey, because I'm just having ideas, and every time I bring them up, maybe they are shot down, or maybe someone. So I guess what I'm trying to say is protect your idea and make sure that the people you are going to are supporting it and giving you actual like, yes, you can do this. I believe in you. This idea maybe needs to be tweaked in this way, but it's a great idea. Start. Just protect your idea.
Yeah, finding the people maybe or maybe not believe in your idea, but believe in you.
Exactly.
What did your support network look like? Or what does it look like?
Now there's a nice size support network. It's mainly my family. comes through, and my life coach.
Yeah.
Sponsored
Sponsored by Life
Sponsored
Coach.
by Anthony Ware, life coach. Cheers, Louise. But my mom, my sister, Anthony, my partner, it's just really feels good. And once you find that, you can go like full force
Yeah.
on whatever it is. And I think that's in any facet. For me, it just happens to be in this. But if there's someone who really loves their job, who really loves, once you like realize, okay, I believe in me, I know what I can do, and these people believe in me too, I can put my entire being into this thing and feel no regret. No one's looking at this as a risky thing anymore, because I'll put the work in, and you see me putting the work in. So it's only a matter of time, but a lot of people don't see it that way. And that's why you have to have that support group who is constantly like, yes, this, you are. I remember texting my sister at one point in time, and I was like, is it crazy that this is like my white whale? And she was like, no, you have a great idea. Yeah. Attack it and don't stop. But that's a mood swing. Where that morning, I'm sure I was like, we're killing this. We're working. You know what I mean? We're getting everything done. And by that night, I was like, yo, is there something I'm missing here? And can you help me out understand it? And if that person you reach out to shoots it down in that moment, do you continue to fight for your idea? It's a question.
Yeah. And what has it been like connecting to Sprocket's mentor? We just launched our mentor directory, and I think you're one of the most active mentees, which I think is brilliant. And I credit that determination to soaking up any resource that you have possible, to the reason you won our pitch competition. And I asked you, I will never forget when I asked you, how are you going to celebrate? And you said, work harder. And that's what I see you do. I was like, this is why this guy won. Yeah. Because he's in here every day meeting with the mentors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's all that I've ever really wanted on this journey, is just a little bit of help, a little bit of direction. And when you have people that are support group, when you have people that are willing to help you and willing to use their valuable time to give you any tidbit of knowledge you can hold on to or you can actually use, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? It makes no sense in my mind, it makes no sense for me to look at all of these like fantastic people who are doing this thing, who are further along than me, or maybe they're even starting it, but they're in their own lane. And they're a specialist in this. I'm not a specialist. I have no clue what's going on in this. If I can get anything and you can help me in any way, I will be there, because I appreciate that, like, honestly. And I know that you are here for me, so thank God. You know what I mean? Let's do it. The work harder thing is just how my brain is wired, though. That's just like, you get something great and you can only do one thing. You can only continue you got here because you're working. So if you get something great and then you stop working, what was the past work for? There's got to be something else. Were you only motivated by this to do this and it's over and it's done, or is there something else that you're still chasing?
Our West Kentucky Innovation Challenge is going to be picking back up again. For anyone who's thinking about it or wondering, well, maybe I'm not at the right level yet, or I'm not there yet, what would you say to them?
I'd say there is no right level. Do it. Do it. Because everyone, like I said before, everyone's there to support you. So I'm blessed enough to have my mom, to have my sister, life coach, etc. Everyone isn't, and everyone who's thinking about it, joining, has an idea they want to foster. People at Sprocket are amazing. They have the mentor deck. They're there willing to help you and support you. You'll see them day in, day out doing it. You'll be motivated to day in, day out do it. And the people you're going to be competing against, it's not a competition. Yeah. Everyone is going to, everything affects everything. they're working too. They now know what your idea is. We're all here to like help our tides rise. If you do great, I do great. If I do great, you do, like, this isn't a, oh, I must win situation. This is a, how can we help support each other? Because we're both at the beginning of our journey.
And any knowledge I gain, I can share with you. Any knowledge you gain, you can share with me.
That, and you never know what, a ton of like what I've been finding is that one of the most valuable things is just a connection. The connection may not, you may have in your mind, oh, I want X, Y, and Z. And then you make a connection with somebody and they may not be able to give you X, Y, and Z, but they may know somebody who has a connection to X. And that person may know somebody who has something to Y. That person may. So now you just follow this path that you created, you went out and you worked for, and you can get X, Y, and Z. You can now have a plan to actually attain it versus just like sitting and waiting for a present to drop into your hands. You just gain connections, make your plan, and then attain it.
There you go.
Yeah,
Make connections, make your plan, attain it.
Try as hard as possible to do that. Absolutely.
Well, Maurice, thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience and your drive and your passion. I personally have learned a lot, and I'm so grateful that you took the time to be with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you taking the time to be with me. I always love talking to you and the Sprocket family.
Same here. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.